Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another week. And we are starting with a little bit of a pickle, a little bit of news regarding Trump, and especially what hit and crashed the markets yesterday, which is of course Trump's latest tariff threats. So let's talk about it in today's video. Let's jump right into it. So this time, these threats were aimed at several European countries over the Greenland situation that we covered before, which sparked one of the sharpest sell-offs that we've seen in a while. So it's following the same pattern. We've seen it played out before. We've seen it in 2025 with the Chinese tariffs. So whenever Trump drops an aggressive tariff talk, the markets freak out in the short term, and which is exactly what we're seeing right now. And yesterday and today hasn't been different. We've seen Bitcoin take a huge beating, dropping from around the $95,000 all the way down to 90,000. At one point, it went even below that. So it is over a 5% drop, a 5% dump in a matter of just a few hours. Altcoins got hit even harder. You know, these things tend to hurt more altcoins than Bitcoin itself. We saw large caps go down 10, 20, even 30% in a matter of hours. We saw roughly $875 million in positions liquidated across crypto, which most of these 800 million were longs getting liquidated. We saw over $100 billion wiped off of the total market cap of crypto during all this chaos. And this is not just the US or just from the US. The threats of retaliation from Europe just added fuel to what was already burning a lot. As I said, we've seen this movie before in late 2025 with China, and things are happening just like they did before. So of course, I think things should be looking better in the long term, or at least until the mid of the year. Again, this is my personal opinion. But one thing that we know and that we can agree, every one of us, is that Trump doesn't like seeing the markets, especially the crypto markets, in pain for too long. The markets had a rough start. The US markets, futures, everything doesn't look that good in the short term. The VIX has spiked to around the 20. It's the highest in over a month, and traders are opening shorts by the ton. So most of these guys are betting that the pain is going to keep going on and on and on. But history usually says the bears, whenever they are super excited, they tend to be wrong again. We might see a couple of days where the market gets red, the market stays stressed out, especially with retailers. As I say every time in the Fear and Greed Index, the retailers are always, super scared, super excited, super scared, super excited. So every time we see this, and especially right now, which is getting back towards the extreme fear, we should be seeing some ease up in the long term. And as always, I believe that officials on both sides will ease up on the tough talk once things start to get a little bit better, or once things started getting a little bit, closer to the actual event. We have to see what's going to happen to Greenland. Again, I don't like to give my own political view, but I do think that Greenland situation is a little bit far-fetched from the US trying to get Greenland. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because that would change a lot on how the world sees the US. And if that actually happens, it will be very bad economically for the US, especially with global trades and import and export, because countries were not going to be willing to interact with an imperialist country, or so to say, which is what we don't want to see anymore, or at least the whole majority of the world doesn't want to see anymore. So that is a little bit of a pickle, but Trump will keep sounding strong in public. He'll keep saying that tariffs are coming, but hopefully behind the scenes, there's going to be negotiations. And I believe that for sure. I honestly believe that he's just looking for a deal, not a war. We've seen it with China. We've seen it with Russia. As these talks are happening behind the scenes, the uncertainty is going to keep markets going like crazy, but eventually they should start stabilizing soon. For example, the China situation last year, eventually Trump met with Xi, and then the deal was done in a matter of, a few minutes. So I think this will be the same. He's gonna stay tough, for the news, for the outlets, for the media, but behind the scenes, his team for sure is trying to close some sort of deal, some sort of smart trade for both parties. And smart money institutions, they know that, and they can sense this. This is why you're seeing a lot of these news on Twitter saying, the Cardano Association bought a bunch of Bitcoin. The US Reserve is buying a bunch of Bitcoin. It's using seized assets as part of the reserve. MicroStrategy is buying a ton. BlackRock's buying a ton. So institutions, smart money, they know this is going to happen. So they're just buying the dip. They're just waiting, and, just profiting, buying everything that retailers are selling out of fear. So the quick TLDR of this cycle example, in my opinion, I think Trump's going to be threatening the tariffs, panic selling hits, the retaliation is going to amp up the fear, and then the talk will start to soften, and then quiet negotiations are going to be happening, which we don't know. Maybe it's already happening, and then a deal is announced and everything is going to go up and up and up. The S&P is going to go back up. Gold, silver, precious metals are going to stop going up parabolic. Bitcoin should start going up once again. This is my opinion. So right now we're in the panic phase and we're sliding towards the softening phase. So I wouldn't be shocked if stocks and cryptos still take, some 2 or 3 days dumping, and then everything will be in 1 or 2 weeks, back to prices that we're seeing right now, or even higher than this. So now with this huge introduction, let's actually look at the pricing itself of our cryptocurrencies. So right now we have Bitcoin at $90,070. We have Ethereum at 3,006 actually. BNB at 896, XRP at 190. We have Solana at 126, and we have Monero here still above 525, which is a good number because if you don't remember, Monero went up 50% last week. So it is holding strong, which cannot be said for Hyperliquid and Zcash, which are down around 10% each in the past 7 days. If you look at the Fear and Greed Index, this is what I was telling you. We were super excited. Just the 15th, 5 days later, we're going back towards extreme fear. So does it make sense for you to use this when retailers are like little kids? They are super excited. Their emotions are all over the place. So this is why I just look at the Fear and Greed Index as an indication of what are people doing? How can I profit from their stupidity? This is how I am looking at, or how I have been looking at the Fear and Greed Index for quite a while now. So maybe you should start doing so as well, because usually retailers tend to be very, very wrong and doing stupid things all the time. Now, looking back at our currencies, Solana is doing not so bad. It could have been worse. Solana is looking towards the bottom of the Bollinger right here. I think it's going to go down a little bit more, but as I said, maybe by Friday we should be coasting around the 130, especially after this huge drop that we saw right here. On Ethereum, I actually opened a trade just before this video because something tells me that the market should recover at least by Friday. So I placed a trade. Let's talk about it a little bit later on. And for Bitcoin, we are so overextended here on the Bollinger Bands. You can see we ripped down, we tested the 200 moving average right here, and we broke right through it. And now seems like we're going to be going down a little bit more, but things should be slowing down. By looking here at the RSI on the 4 hours and the MACD, maybe we're slowing down and we're starting to correct once again. Maybe towards the $91,000 right here should be somewhere where we're going to be testing once again when the moving averages keep going down, and we should meet right around here in the next few hours or maybe even next day. So going back to my Ethereum trade, let me actually open this on the topics right here. If we scroll down, you're gonna see that right here. Boom. Yeah, so it is an Ethereum 23 of January 2026, and it is a 2800 put that I sold. I sold a put. I collected $240 for a risk of $9,300, but since I had 10,200, gives me an ROE, which is return on equity, so total amount of around 2.35%. That is a decent return for just, less than 48 hours. I think that is good. So hopefully we will see on Friday by the next video if it was good or not. This is around 6%-ish from the current price. So a drop of 6% is doable. Of course, it could happen, but I don't think it will happen. So that is my ideology. Of course, we have to talk about the copy trading. It wasn't good in the past 24 hours. We lost 2% on the alt 0DT and 1.3% in the normal 0DT. It sucks, it hurts, of course, but again, I'd like to remind you that these are real trades from real people, from real traders. And of course, if you see something that is giving you profitability every time with no drawdown, with no losses, it's a scam. So as much as it sucks, to be on the 0DT, for example, now we are negative for the month, 0.42, but we're still having an overall positive P&L, total P&L past 30 days. It is up in the green. Past 30 days on this strategy right here is 2.5%, overall 15% on this strategy, which is really new. It started just October last year. So we are still very profitable in the long term. If you just started depositing right now, of course, it's going to be bad. But if you look at the whole strategy since the beginning and how we have been accomplishing our goals, that eventually we're going to have better trades than we're doing right now. And if you click on explore more, you can see that we have losses, but we have an overall positive trade every single time. So our positive trades usually outperform the negative trades by quite a lot. Look at this. You can see everything that you need, all the data, everything that you need is available for you to check and for you to do your own due diligence if you need to here on Betopics. Just click on explore more. You can see what positions we opened, what positions we closed, all the analytics and statistics, maximum drawdown, every information that you need to have some peace of mind when you deposit into Betopics. So hopefully this is going to be able to, give you some peace regarding the copy trading, which is something that I've seen a lot of people comment down below. That being said, this is going to be it for today's video. Hopefully by Friday, I should have collected these $240, which is a good beginning for this trading this year. So let me know, what do you believe is going to happen to my trade? Am I going to lose money? Am I going to make money? Let me know down in the comments. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you taking some time to watch this video. If you reached all the way to the end of the video, let me know in the comments if you're watching from YouTube or watching from Twitter, because now we're cross-posting this video. The same video that you see on YouTube is also on Twitter. Just let me know, send me something, engage with the post so we can see which one is better. If it is better for us to continue on full on YouTube or to even go full Twitter, let me know. It is up to you. So I need your help and your support with this. As always, thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next one, as always, right here on Friday. In the meantime, take care. Peace.